Yeah, I think in this lighting I looks like Sangakkara. I look Sri Lankan basically. I think it's the lighting.
Hello and welcome to The Good, the Bad, the Ridiculous on day 4 at the SCG. Well, last night when we recorded the show, some of you felt that we should have addressed an ugly incident that happened at the ground yesterday. I just want to clarify that when we recorded, we actually didn't know what had happened. We didn't have any details. We knew that there was some commotion, something had happened, but we just didn't know what. So that's why we didn't address it last night. There's been another incident today. We don't know what accusations have been made or anything like that yet from today, but we do know that they were made yesterday. So 2 separate incidents, both being investigated separately. But when it comes to that, I do have a nomination here from Akshay saying bad and ridiculous has been Australia's crowd, Mel. This just can't happen in a sporting event. What I have to say about this really doesn't matter, so I'm just handing it over to Bharat. What have you made of what's happened?
Well, it's disappointing to start with. Look, we don't have the facts like you said, Mel. We've read reports, one saying, well, the word spoken or the abuse wasn't racial in nature, but we've also heard from the Indian camp who are very, very strong in their stance that it was racial. We won't tell you what has been discussed because it's not official yet. But if what the Indians are saying, then it's not done. But look, forget about what happened today. I mean, it's tough to forget, but it's like just racism. I have a stand on this because my first visit to Australia in 2014-15, on the third day we go to Maxwell, which is Philip Hughes' hometown. He had passed away. We went there for a story. I walk into a pub. There's this guy who just looks at me, long hair, beard, bag. He's like, mate, what's in your backpack? Are you a terrorist? Do you have a bomb in your bag? So I dealt with it. I just looked back at him and I said, mate, look at you. And he was this big, bald, bearded guy. I said, if anything, you look like a bomber. And everybody laughed, and he actually bought a few beers for me. And I'm not here to talk about a funny incident. It wasn't funny. Now, in hindsight, I realize I did not react properly. I should have pulled him up and not joked about it. And, or if not educated him, at least let him know that what he had done was not right. I wasn't feeling very good about what he had done. Because it is belittling to be told. Last evening when I was entering my apartment, I was just searching for the key. And it's one of those apartments where you have the thing, the buzzer-like thing which lets you in. Guy walks out of the apartment, the first thing he looks at me and he says like, you must be the Uber guy. Look, it's not the same as someone saying something about my mother or my skin color, but the connotation is the same. So what I say is, it's in a way the incident outside the apartment is different, but being called a terrorist or what happened today, if it was racist in nature, is just cowardice. Because you don't realize, and by you I mean whoever's out there who thinks it's okay to say whatever you want to say about the color of their skin or their race or where they come from or where they should go back to or anything at all. Just realize that it is belittling, like I said, and it has long lasting effects. You might not realize it at that point, but subconsciously it grows. It leads to people getting a complex, and it's not fun. It's not a joke. It's not water off a duck's back. It just doesn't go away that easy. So just think about what you're saying. Respect. It's all about respect. Educate yourself. That's all I'm asking for. And there are 2 types of racism I've experienced in my life, or the way I judge it. One that comes from ignorance and one that comes from spite. Ignorance, I won't condone it, but at least I'll make the effort to educate it. In Australia, there is one generation I've realized there was a time in this country where maybe it was okay to say whatever you wanted to say. But with those people, if you think it's coming out of ignorance, like I said, I talk to them, I educate them, I tell them why it is wrong what they're saying. If they learn from it, great. If they don't, it's their loss. But when it comes from spite, like what's happened at the ground today, and like I said, if it is proven to be racist, I want to believe the Indian team management, because I'm not saying that I'm part of the team management, but I've been on the receiving end. So at this moment, I will believe what they're saying. When it comes out of spite, like I said, you don't know what to do. Do you ignore it? Do you just walk away? Or do you stand up and call them out, like Mohammed SIRAJ did today? He is a hero. And purely because everything he's been through is fine. He's a young cricketer. He's come on his first proper tour of Australia. where you're told the crowds will go after you. He could have easily just like ignored it and said, no, I'll just go about my cricket. Can I bring a test match to a halt? Is like, am I big enough to do that? The fact that he did it, he walked up to the officials and said, look, what happened yesterday has happened again. I'm not going to stand there and just say nothing, which takes a lot of character, takes a lot of credit. Again, personally, I can tell you, when someone says something which is racist in nature, your first reaction is to get a little defensive and maybe even get a little scared because you don't know where it's coming from. Could this person hurt me? I don't know. So the fact that I can stand up, what Siraj has done today, look, maybe it'll be proven that what was said wasn't racist. I don't know. But the fact that he could stand up and just, talk up says a lot to me, and I think that's a blueprint that all of us should follow. Even I in the past have, because of my personality, kind of joked about it, like, it's okay, you can call me a Deliveroo guy or an Uber driver or whatever it is. But it's not right. I've realized it might be okay for me, but by okaying it even with my little group, I'm just like decent or making a mockery of it, which is unfair, and I've stopped doing it. I think you should stop doing it as well if you're experiencing it anywhere. I'm not saying only in Australia, but anywhere in the world. I've grown up in India. I know it can happen there as well. The color of the skin matters in India. I know about it. I know you know about it. So just speak up, talk up, stand up, and trust me, you might be the victim to start with, but if you stand up, you are the hero. That's all I want to say, man.
You just done, it makes me really sad because I know that symbol. When you do that, you've done that with me. That's your sign when you're telling me about something that there's been racism involved. The fact that you didn't even have to say anything. But, okay, so I have a small platform. It's not a big one. I don't consider myself to be that influential. Is there anything someone like me can do that can help this? And more broadly, the media as well. We're in Australia, but in other countries too. Is there something that people within the media can do to help this situation?
Just learn. Just learn about someone else's culture. Like when Indians, I can tell you, I might be generalizing here. When Indians travel overseas, they put an effort. Like you would never, very rarely hear an Indian getting an English name wrong. Because we put in that effort. And you've seen not just me, but so many Indian journalists over the years. You'd never see them getting an Australian cricketer's name wrong or an English cricketer's name. In fact, they take pride in getting it right. They don't make a mockery out of like, I'm going to call him this and like, I can't pronounce this. What is Bharat Sundaresan? Man, can I just call you something else? Like, they don't do that. So, just reciprocate that respect is all I ask for. And it's not that difficult. You have Indian friends if it's an Indian team, if you have Sri Lankan friends if it's a Sri Lankan team, because Sri Lankan names are also not the easiest to pronounce for an Australian or an Englishman, or at times even for an Indian. Just make that effort, learn. It starts with the name, because that's where it starts. Respect starts with someone's name. And then even if you feel like at times you might think I know this person really well, it's okay to say something. Maybe just take a moment, think about it. If anything, just take him aside or her aside and say, look, I don't know, is it okay to say this? That one question can change everything. And we as the media are responsible for spreading that word, spreading that message. And if we can generate that kind of atmosphere, that kind of environment within the press box, and in what we write and what we say and what we shoot or what we say in front of the camera or on radio, I think we can go a long way. It's not that difficult. Like I said, it comes out of just common courtesy and just respect for another human being.
Hopefully we don't have to talk about it in that, we hope there's not more incidents, but this shouldn't be the last time that we talk about it. And hopefully this can be an opportunity, I guess, for this country, this sport, to actually deal with this issue, because we shouldn't sweep it under the carpet, pretend that it's not a problem. So thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And all that you do to educate me.
Of course.
Natarajan, see? It's easy.
It is.
It's easy. We just need to know. So that's good. It's a good thing. Maybe cricket associations can help educate the media.
Maybe it's a good idea. We spoke about this off air. At the start of the tour, maybe just get all the commentators, all the media personnel, if they're going to address someone in a press conference, get together. It takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Just like write down the phonics or the phonetics of a name and just hand it over. It'll just make it easy. When people ask me how to say Sundaresan, I just send it to them. Like it's Sundaresan. As in Homer Simpson, And, it's as easy as that. Maybe the Cricket Association get together. There are so many meetings that the host board and the visiting board have about so many things which at times don't matter. This could be just a part of it. And it takes 5 minutes really to learn someone's name.
Okay, well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. And hopefully this has been helpful for you guys as well. At that point, shall we talk a bit about the cricket today?
Good, bad and the ridiculous. Let's go for it.
Rohit, I'm not sure again if it's that Rohit, nominates bad. India's catching, especially that Vihari drop. It's been a little bit of a theme, shall we say, throughout the whole sort of tour.
The whole tour. And the team, unfortunately, that has dropped catches has somehow lost the game. Yeah, I mean, the whole cliche of catches win matches that every kid will tell you about. It's actually coming true. Cliches like, we make fun of cliches, Mel, as journalists. We're like, we're never going to use it. But maybe at times there is some truth to it. Because you just look at it from the one-dayers right to the first 2 test matches. India dropped test match catches at Adelaide, dropped that test match. Yeah, Australia dropped catches in Melbourne. They lost that test. And India have dropped quite a few. And the Vihari dropped second ball of the day. Oh. Who knows? I mean, Australia were well ahead in the game, but get a wicket early, Manas Labuschagne out, and we saw what happened. Wade got out very early as well. Maybe they could have made inroads, but yeah, maybe he was just, I don't know, he was just not ready. The day hadn't started for Hanuma Vihari. He didn't expect the ball to come at square leg, but costly drop. I think just might not have changed anything, but who knows? Maybe it could have given India a sniff.
Kartik nominates good. Bumrah's reaction to Green actually being caught out. He could hardly believe it wasn't dropped. How good. Actually, his reactions to everything that has been dropped, you got to say, he's very patient. He's basically, I don't know if he's a saint almost in his forgiveness and okay, maybe not a saint, but
maybe just with the smile, because if you just follow him to fine leg, you'll know exactly what he thinks of the drop catch. With that Ajinkya Rahane drop catch, it was a tough one at gully. You could see he kept doing this and he kept doing that. And Nuwan, the throwdown specialist, was at fine leg, handing him some water. After every ball, at fine leg, Bumrah would walk towards him and he would try to hand a bottle of water. And Bumrah was still talking to himself, and then he would withdraw the bottle. And that happened 3 or 4 times. But it was but you said he forgives very soon. But at the end of the over, he went, and Ajinkya Rahane, being Ajinkya Rahane, apologized to him. He just said, it's fine, it was a tough catch. But the Rohit Sharma catch, where his Mumbai Indians captain, his mentor, I don't know what he could say to Rohit, but should have been taken there at second slip. But look, Rohit was in second slip because Pujara had gone off the field for some reason. So maybe, like I said, with Vihari, Rohit wasn't expecting that catch. That was Tim Payne. The game had moved on, but Bumrah just had that kind of day. He kept beating the batsman. I'm not surprised that when the catch was taken, that he had that big smile on his face. Yeah, which he never loses, but then he started clapping as if very mockingly to say.
But Bumrah has possibly the most infectious smile going around in cricket. I've always said he's like a happy puppy bounding around, and sometimes you make fun of me for saying that. But he is, and I think that's one of the reasons why people love watching him so much, because his joy comes out in that smile.
That is true.
It. Oliver Jones, hello Ollie, nominates Cameron Green's 6 hitting, ridiculously easy on the eye. That was sensational. Let's not underplay. That was sensational. It was actually really gratifying for me to see him bat as well as he did today and pull out some of those shots, because we've been watching him we watched that century at Drummoyne, which was super. Yeah. And we've watched him through the nets all the time. We've been amazed at how such a big man can be so lovely to watch, big rugby back rower.
Indeed.
Doing ballet. So it's really gratifying to see more of what he's been able to do, I guess, in the test arena. And I do think we're going to see a lot of him for quite a while to come.
Yeah, I put a silly tweet out there. I said, with the first one he hit that 6, the big 6 of Mohammed SIRAJ where he jumped out, I said that's when Green turned Hulk rather than the other way around.
Dum-dum.
So yeah, and they were effortless. He's a big guy, and at times you see him like he's 1 of 19 or 2 of 21. At the start of his innings, he's not picking the length. He's getting beaten outside. The outside edge gets beaten, and then you're like, it's almost like watching him bowl. You just look at him and you're going to be like, oh, you think he's going to bowl 170 kilometers an hour. Nobody's bowled that speed yet, legally. But he doesn't. And there's this gentleness about him, that face, just the way he is, despite being so massive, big giraffe, or Mamba as the Australian team has started calling him. But once he let loose today, once he turned Hulk, those sixes, the first one was big, but then the others, at least he jumped out of his crease. The others, he just stood and delivered. But I think the one that he hit off Jasprit Bumrah would have pleased him the most, because there are times you see him bat, he seems to completely miss the length with Jasprit Bumrah. He's still getting used to that action, but that one he hits, just stand and deliver. Oof! I can't wait to see that side of Cameron Green a lot more. We've seen the classy side of him, the way he drives, the way he pulls, but the brute that he proved to be in the afternoon today, that's going to be exciting to watch.
At Megnath nominates ridiculous that Smith doesn't get criticised for batting at pretty much the same strike rate as Pujara did yesterday. That made me laugh. There may have been more of a downside to Smith batting at that rate than there was for Pujara when he was batting at that rate yesterday, if you think about it, in the game situation anyway.
Maybe the reason Steve Smith doesn't get criticized, or did not get criticised for the rate at which he scored, is because he's not born in India.
Oh.
There you go. Maybe that is the...
Well, let's just say one thing. If Pujara bats at a Pujara-esque rate tomorrow for a long time, I don't think anyone's going to be criticising him then.
The only way that might happen is if India have enough wickets in hand and they fall 40 runs short because Pujara was batting too slow. But that doesn't happen.
You've got a sick mind. At Pie Chucker's cricket podcast, early call for good, bad, ridiculous. Ridiculously bad that all those catches by Saha don't get credited to his record due to being a sub. I am with you there. In fact, it's terrible. Justice for subfielders is what I say. Justice for subfielders. Cricket has been really quite bad in general when it comes to stats and records for fielding. It's been way behind those for batting and for bowling. And the fact that he comes on, that the laws were changed back in 2018, I think it was, to allow for a sub-wicket keeper to come on. Now, having done that, I think if you're changing the laws to recognise that as a specialist position, you should absolutely be recognising the catches. And I actually think that for all fielders anyway. But I have also taken it into my hands. I have sent an email to the MCC to ask them about this and to ask them if they're going to consider allowing the records to be changed retrospectively as well as for in the future, so that wicket keepers can be recognised when they're subbing. So I'm on it. I got some skin in the game. I'm gonna justice for sub wicket keepers.
Justice, but for all your stats people out there, statsmen and women, once you have to change everything retrospectively and start awarding catches for substitutes, you know who to come after. She'll be responsible for all your hard work. So I'm just saying it. But yeah, I mean, I looked up the record for most number of catches by a wicketkeeper in an individual test innings for India. It's Dhoni and Pant joined together at numbers with 6 catches. Wriddhiman Saha at one point had 3 catches, and just Australia had lost 4 wickets. I thought he was on route to breaking that record, but it wouldn't have belonged to him as the rules stand right now. But Melinda is changing everything.
Justice for sub-wicket keepers! At Ricky Tiller nominates good, India's opening partnership. It's encouraging, certainly for India, to have had 2 50-run opening partnerships. That's fantastic. And also to see just some of Rohit's form as well. There was one cover drive he played, I did tweet this, it looked like it was made of silk. That languidness, there are a few players I can think of who make a cover drive look that, it was like liquid silk. It was just incredible. But to see them, there was a few more perhaps less conventional shots from Shubman Gill in there as well. Ooh. Rohit is back and is showing signs of what he can be. And also the discovery of Shubman Gill, who's been a revelation and really made the most of his opportunity.
Yeah, and they complement each other really well, despite being Similar batsmen in their approaches where they put the bat ball away. Like both of them are very good at that, and both of them have that presence at the crease, which Shubman Gill just playing a second test, but he already seems to have developed that presence. Rohit Sharma, well, he's developed that presence in white ball cricket for years and years and years now, and also of late in test cricket since he's transformed into an opener. So we all know about how good Rohit is on the eye, but generally when you hear of opening partnerships, you'll hear of Hayden and Langer, one a gritty batsman, the other like a big and open-chested and going after the bowling. But if you have two similar kind of batsmen, it's not like they're not strong with their defense. Shubman Gill yesterday or 2 days back, we were talking about his front foot defense, how it always hits the middle of the bat. We saw that today as well. It's so if you have two guys who are really good with their defense, but who put the bad ball away,
The what?
bad ball away, and most importantly, the strike rates will always be good. So I think it's come together. It's a mishmash opening combination in some ways. Nobody would have thought Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill will be opening the third test, but here they are, and I think they're here to stay.
What was the goodest thing today?
The goodest thing we've not spoken about, and you're going to like this. The goodest thing was Rishabh Pant in the nets. I'm not going to give away too many details because I have to write also, right? So hopefully he does something special. I'm really looking forward to write on him tomorrow. Yeah, he went into the nets like late in the evening. He wasn't 100%, but he was really gutsing it through. And, you know, he gets so much flack for taking it too easy, not being the fittest, or not apparently focusing on his wicket keeping. The guts he showed during the net session, whether he walks out tomorrow or not, whether he walks out and gets out early or not, he really earned my respect. And it was funny as well because they could hear the crowd noise, right? This is when the openers were batting, and every time they heard a sound, they would ask me, wicket, 4, and I was like the umpire. I was signaling like 4 or 2, or like there was a 6 that Rohit Sharma hit. And I could see it on the big screen behind the net. So that is good for, like, hopefully, like I said, we get to see him bat tomorrow. But just the guts he showed, you could see that he was experiencing a lot of pain, but he hung in there, and for me, that definitely wins good for the day.
I knew you'd come around and see the light. That's all I'm going to say. The baddest thing from today.
The baddest thing, I guess India's catching, purely because, like I said, in this tour, it's meant you drop catches, you lose matches. So yeah, that for me would be the baddest.
And the ridiculousest thing of today.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess Cam Green's 6 hitting. Ridiculously easy. He made it look, and ridiculously good. Like I said, I can't wait to see more of Cam Green's just 6 hitting. That's all. Cam Green hitting sixes was all I want to see for one whole day every month.
Wow, that's a lot. I'll be up for that. Let's do it sometime. Okay. Thanks for your nomination, for being part of it. Please feel free to subscribe. Yes, all of that.
And just respect your fellow human being. And share the love, man. Why the hate? It's easier to smile. There you go.
Okay.
Go spread the love.
Let's smile.